Good news, everyone! The engines of tomorrow may be shrinking, but the little 3-cylinder in this GR Corolla absolutely This is the Toyota G16E GTS. It's a hot little 3-cylinder engine developed for the homologation special Toyota GR Yaris that we never got. However, it's finally here in North America, and better still, it now makes 100 horsepower per cylinder. Mated exclusively to a 6-speed manual transmission and routed through all-wheel drive, this 3-cylinder thrummer is enough to take this humble Corolla to 100 kilometers an hour in 5 seconds. It's a quick little package, but I gotta be honest, I don't even care that it's fast. You see, this unique powertrain makes the GR Corolla one of the most fun cars on sale today, and perhaps that I've driven in quite some time. And that's why, as beautiful as today is, I'm gonna cut the stand-up short and get back on the road. Right off the bat, it should be pretty clear that this thing's a little different. 3-cylinder engines are not typically thought of as performers. Here in North America, they're relatively few and far between, typically just found in world market cars that land here. But when you think hot hatch, your mind probably still goes to the straight 4. This might change your perspective a little though. Brought to market to homologate Toyota's WRC-entered GR Yaris, the G16E GTS is a nifty little thing. It's still just a 3-cylinder, but at 1.6 liters, it's a pretty beefy one. Pump that out through oversized exhaust valves and a decent-sized turbo built right into the manifold, and you're looking at some pretty interesting potential. The ceiling of that potential, well, we don't really know yet. Those WRC cars are putting out above 400 horse off the same basic structure. Here in the road-going Corolla, Toyota specified a slightly more sensible tune. You're looking at 300 horsepower, 273 pound-feet of torque. There's still room to go up from there though, about 25 pounds of boost. Step it up with your own little DIY Marizzo tune, and we know that 26 pounds will yield 195 pound-feet and an unstated horsepower output. Channeling this is Toyota's GR all-wheel drive system, an electronically controlled wet clutch system that lets you direct the torque forward, backward, or just to an even balance depending on your preference. Default in the GR, 60 front, 40 rear. Knock this dial and you get 70% of the torque at the rear. Or press this button for track mode and you get a more sensible 50-50. Now, I've found myself partial to that rear bias setup, but even just in the regular 60-40 front mode, it is so much fun. You see, what stands out here in the Corolla is there's just a lot to take in and process. No matter what you're doing, the low frequency of that 120-degree space 3-cylinder gives you very infrequent exhaust pulses. It's such a distinct thrum that under load at certain revs actually sort of sounds like the Porsche 996 Boxer. Wind it up, however, and the pitch gets pretty high until you let your foot off and that big turbo just dumps its wastegate. You get so much whooshy goodness here, it's phenomenal. To manage that, Toyota's done this right. There is no automatic option to dilute this driving experience. You get a 6-speed manual and you're gonna learn to use it. There is an intelligent manual transmission button down here that will rev match for you if you feel so inclined, but honestly, that's not really the spirit here. This lightweight, free-spinning engine is just such a pleasure to match yourself. It zips up and down the revs without a moment's hesitation. And once you get it past 4,500 and into boost, my God, it just ramps on up. The compromises of that fixed-rate damping won't make this the quickest thing on the tarmac, nor will those skinny sidewalls make it the fastest thing on gravel either. Toyota has fitted Canadian Corollas from standard with the largest 14-inch brakes they have ever fitted to a car. As a result, the 18-inch wheels on here are as small as you're gonna get. That being said, the Mark 7 Golf R that just passed me is not gonna have the same kind of fun out here. Oh man. I've talked at length in the past about how I'm a little neutral toward modern cars, I like the way that the old ones keep things simple. I've got a friend with a Celica GT4, and at first I figured that would be my preference. But I honestly don't really see how that could top this right now. The Corolla here just plays its games so well. Yes, it will slide if you give it the right circumstances and setup to get it going. That 30 front still pulls enough that even if you're an absolute ham, the car does do an excellent job of pulling you back straight out. This doesn't make it ideal for those wanting to be absolute fools just burning donuts, but if you have the space for a wider radius slide, it will do it without issue. Now, I must acknowledge that not everything is magnificent right out of the gate. One of the really big frustrations here in the Corolla is pedal spacing. Spacing the gas and brake as far apart as Toyota has makes it a little bit awkward to heel and toe. It takes quite a crank of the foot to actually reach the base of that accelerator. Of course, you could just use the button and let it blip for you, but come on. Now, of course, goofing off isn't everything, and people who are looking to cars like the GR Corolla are probably looking at something that they want to enjoy as a fun daily as well. I will say straight away that this is not the comfortable ride that you're going to get from a WRX, or particularly from the adaptive damping in the Golf R. It is, however, reasonably efficient and benefits from a lot of Toyota's latest and greatest toys. In the center, we've got Toyota's new and honestly long overdue updated infotainment system. It's a really good platform. It's clean, it's responsive, it does everything I want. I do object to the fact that Toyota will harass you at every startup to subscribe to their proprietary navigation. But when you tap past that or pair with your phone, it is really quite good. On the steering wheel, we also have the new Corolla's excellent button controls. They're all hard buttons and they're offset at different depths, making it really easy to get a feel for where things are and to control things without having to look down. Down in the center, we get points over the Civic Type R because this has heated seats. It does lose points, however, in the absence of any center storage down here. Toyota will argue that the omission of an armrest keeps the path clear for shifting. You're not going to bump your elbow, and that's true and appreciated. Having said that, there is also nowhere to leave my leave behind keys. They're just chilling in the cup holder all week. So it goes. Boot space is limited by a foam false floor. Rear seat space is decent, but it's not excellent. It's far from the best passenger experience in the class, but overall it does the job. And it must be said, a whole lot better than that Maurizio edition, which actually omits the rear seat altogether in the name of weight savings. That thing is a silly car, and I really commend Toyota for doing it. For the driver, you're looking at straightforward manually adjusted seating, which is supportive. It cups me very comfortably just on the commute. However, it's not as aggressively bolstered as you're going to find in the GTI, Golf R, Civic Type R, Elantra, and any of those. It's just a comfortable enough, sporty commuter seat. On that sporty commute, by the way, drivers will benefit from Toyota Safety Sense 3. This equips the Corolla from standard with adaptive cruise control, lane keeping, pedestrian safety, a whole bunch of driver assists that make it a really easy car to commute in. Otherwise, you do eventually run into a bit of a sticky spot, however, which is the realization that it is still a Corolla, and one that starts at just under $50,000 at that. Whereas the Civic Type R takes what is already an outstanding platform and just makes it cooler, this thing is hyping up a pretty regular car. Here in the cabin, that means relatively uninspiring materials. You do get a soft touch dash, and if you opt for the Circuit Edition, you get suede seats. Otherwise, however, single zone climate, power windows, I mean, it's a car. On the plus side, however, this hopefully means that this will be an easier long-term platform than something like that Celica GT4. Walk around underneath the Corolla and you'll see that it's really quite a simple platform. This is built on the same Tenga GAC platform as the regular Corolla hatch, along with the Prius, the Corolla Cross, the HR-V. I would argue this is a good thing, as it should A, have helped save on development costs, and B, ensures there's a lot of familiarity with the platform. You've got McPherson struts up front, but not at the rear. Control arms are relatively simple steel, which I would imagine the aftermarket is soon going to start offering aluminum alternatives for. And what I have to say is really a rather surprising amount of underbody aero cladding. Excepting the tunnel for that darling little drive shaft, the whole thing is basically skirted. Other points of interest are the center differential, which is back here for weight distribution, as is the battery in fact. and bolted right to that is the rear differential. Now, here in Canada, both the front and rear come standard with Torsen LSDs. Toyota Canada's product team has actually done a really nice job making sure that the core gives you really everything you could need. In fact, really the only things you're missing out on by saving the $9 or so grand and just getting the core are the carbon roof and those hood vents, along with the suede seating and premium audio. It's really quite a nicely thought out package. It's taken a good while for it to get here to us, but I am thrilled that the GR Corolla has finally landed here in Canada. This is a magnificent little car, and it's one that I think we're going to be talking about for a good while to come. Would I take it over the Golf R or GTI? Yes, in a heartbeat. Over the Civic Type R, it'd be tricky, but if you were going to play around on twisty gravel, I really do think this is the way to do this. For Driving.ca, I'm El Alder. For more enthusiast car news, reviews, and previews, be sure to follow us online on Driving.ca and check out our social media over on Instagram and Twitter. Oh, and one last thing. Yes, it does do the old STI handbrake thing. If you know, you know.